Hello everyone, it is Season coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about college baseball. So I have not watched a lot of college baseball before this because I'm a Mizzou fan, and we don't really spend much money, and our facilities kind of suck, and I live far away, so I really don't watch a lot of it. Now, on the road to Omaha, I have been watching so many games this postseason, and it is just absolutely incredible. College baseball has gained a fan in me, and I will be watching a lot more games. I actually have one on my other monitor while I'm making this video, because I just can't stay away from it. But I have seen 3 ejections that have been kind of high profile on Twitter or X, and I wanted to talk about them. So before we do get into this video, please subscribe if you haven't already, drop a like, helps me out a ton. And let me know in the comments what you think about these 3 ejections and ejections in general. So, first of all, there are kind of 2 schools of thought when it comes to celebrating and talking between teams. And there's the old school, like, keep your head down, keep to your team, act like you've been there before if you hit a home run, and just kind of the, like, I call it golf style baseball, where it's very respectful and you don't really talk much to the other team. Then there was the big push in the MLB a few years back called Let the Kids Play. They were running commercials for this, and it was just talking about bat flips and celebrating and making the game a little bit more entertaining for the modern audience. And I can confidently say that I sit somewhere in the middle. I'm a little bit closer to the Let the Kids Play side, but I don't like what college baseball turned into a couple years ago, and I'll get to that a little bit later. I have no problem with a guy celebrating. I just think it has to be within a certain set of unwritten rules. I know people hate unwritten rules, but it's the reality in a lot of sports and esports. I've grown up playing sports my entire life. There are unwritten rules in every sport, and you've just kind of got to stick to them. So the number one thing I've seen in the 3 ejections on Twitter or X is that he didn't even do anything that bad. Now, some of these are just stupid attempts to rage bait. People just want attention, so they're going to say some dumb crap, and they're going to get impressions because half the people are going to be like, I agree, because they just don't believe anyone should be ejected. And the other half are the boomers who are like, he said a word to the other team, he should be banned from ever playing baseball again. So my philosophy has always been cheer with your team, don't cheer and taunt the other team. And it's a pretty simple reasoning. There have been so many times, I played baseball a lot growing up, where you have that one kid who always has to say something to the other team. Now this kid's usually pretty decent, usually top third of the team, sometimes one of the better players, but they always have this, like, they'll talk and then they won't back it up. If anyone retaliates, they're going to back down and expect everyone else to come to their defense, or they're actually going to fight back and it's going to lead to a bigger issue. So it's pretty simple. The unwritten rule for as long as I've known has been like, if you hit a home run, you can flip your bat a little bit. Don't launch it into space. I think that's kind of showing up the other team in the beginning, just getting it off to a bad start. But if you want to celebrate with your teammates, I mean, you hit a home run. The pitcher shouldn't have put it over the plate because you just absolutely launched a ball. Celebrate it. Now, if you hit a wall grazer, crazy celebrations are a little bit over the top. But I don't have a problem with you having some fun. That's kind of my let the kids play philosophy. I don't think you have to hit a home run, drop your bat, and run around the bases looking at the ground and then walk back to the dugout like you've hit 100 home runs before. I like the energy of hitting an absolute moonshot, flipping your bat a little bit, running around the bases, maybe taking a little jog, maybe hit an emote or something, and then celebrating big time with your team. As long as you're not doing it at the other bench or at the fielders, you're probably okay. And pitchers throwing at you after that, you've got to accept it as a reality. I don't think they should do that. They should get you out if they don't want to see you taunting a little bit. But it is what it is. Now, the reason that I kind of don't like the over-the-top celebrations and taunting the other team is that it leads to retaliation, and this is where you see like bench clearing and chippiness and guys going spikes up on to break up double plays. Once the 2 teams, you can kind of feel it when you're a player, like there's a certain amount of energy around the game. And when there's enough animosity between the teams, guys start doing stupid stuff, guys get hurt, feelings get hurt, and sometimes punches are thrown. So I don't like the over-the-top celebrations. And I don't like when teams are going back and forth too much, because I definitely think the retaliation leads to injuries and suspensions and all kinds of other problems. Like I said, cheer with your team, not at the other team. So the first college baseball ejection I'm going to talk about is Georgia's Trey Phelps. He hit a big home run for his team and celebrated the entire way around the bases. Now, I think what did it for him was it looked like he was taunting at the other team's dugout. If he was, it should absolutely be an ejection. Now, the reason that it was a little bit controversial was apparently his family was sitting right above the opposing dugout and he was celebrating towards them. But you can't expect the umpire to know that. It's kind of unfortunate because it was a bit of a weak ejection if it was because of that. But you've got to look at this from a third party. If the umpire sees a guy hitting emotes at the other team's dugout, there's probably going to be an ejection in college baseball, and I'll talk about why later. Now, he definitely went a little bit overboard. I thought it was kind of funny. It was a big home run, so it is what it is. I think the ejection was a bit over the top, but I can definitely see as a neutral third party how the umpire wouldn't know that he was apparently celebrating towards his parents and not taunting the other team. The second ejection was a Virginia pitcher. I forgot to get his name, but it was a very, very tightly contested game. His team was in the lead by 3 runs, looked like they were in control, strikes out a batter, and just starts screaming, "Sit the F down." Now, if you've played baseball after Little League, you've probably heard this phrase from a pitcher about 1,000,000 times. If I had $1 for every time I've heard a pitcher strike someone out and say, "Sit the F down," I would be able to buy everything in the world. It's like something you just hear nowadays almost after every strikeout. You're going to hear it at least once a game. "Sit the F down" is kind of like the pitcher's go-to emote after a big strikeout. The problem was they've cracked down on taunting, and he said it directly looking at the batter. If he had been looking at his dugout and said it, maybe the umpire would have said, "It's a big moment, we're not going to eject him," and left him in the game. Now, this wound up being a huge call because I forget if Virginia ended up winning. I believe they did, but I can't remember. I should have researched this one a little bit better. I was watching the game live while playing MLB the Show, but yeah, it was definitely a warranted ejection per the current rules in my book, and it wound up biting them in the butt. I mean, that pitcher was ejected. Their closer had a really rough time, really rough outing, and it wound up being an extra innings absolute grueler. And now the final ejection I'm going to talk about is another kind of borderline one, but this is one that I don't know why it's getting as much traction as it is, other than it is one of the best players in the country, and that is Arizona State's Landon Hairston Jr. So he struck out. It was an objectively bad call. It wasn't like the most egregious bad call you've ever seen, but a high and tight fastball that should not have been called a strike was called strike 3, and it was at a pretty big time in the ballgame. So obviously emotions are high. Losing a game isn't the end of the world. Losing 2 games is the end of your season, and you want to win every game. So he was frustrated with himself and probably with the call. It wasn't a good call, like I said, but he sent the bat into outer space. I mean, if you've seen it, flips it way into the air. That's an ejection pretty much every time. If this was the MLB, it would have been an instant ejection, and I don't think anyone would be worried about it. Like, if it was a regular season MLB game, it would have been a quick ejection and everyone would have understood it. The problem is college baseball has a rule where if you're ejected from a game, you're also suspended for the next game and not even allowed to be at the field. So I think this is where the suspension rule gets to be a little bit dicey. I don't know that the punishment always necessarily fits the crime. A kid in a quick moment of frustration, in a big moment, threw his bat. I mean, it's a split-second decision. He didn't spike it, but he just flung it over his shoulder. It should be an ejection. But that suspension for the next game is massive for a star player. Now, you can say he should have been smarter. He probably should have. You should know you're going to get run if you toss the bat after a strikeout, especially on a close call. I don't think it was that close, but it was a bad call, and the umpire probably knew it after a second. But you're going to get ejected 9 out of 10 times, probably 10 out of 10 times. But I've been talking about why the crackdown on ejections for taunting happened, and it was Tony Vitello and Tennessee a few years back. This is where I had a problem with the let the kids play crowd. Tennessee a few years back was just making a mockery of baseball. I know Tennessee fans are going to love it, and they're going to probably think I'm biased because I'm a Mizzou fan, so I already don't like Tennessee, but it was just ridiculous. I mean, watching their games, their guys were going absolutely nuts. It was just a circus from Tennessee. So the NCAA did not want that to become the new normal, so they cracked down and said, if you're going to act like an idiot, you're going to get ejected. And in the regular season, the suspension doesn't mean as much, but that suspension in the postseason, especially in like a double elimination round, if your team loses, now you are not able to play in that elimination game. It just seems a little bit excessive. Now, the rule is there because if you get run in the 8th or 9th inning of a game that's out of hand, the ejection doesn't mean that much. They're trying to add some weight behind the ejection and really make guys think twice. I just don't think the combination of cracking down on taunting and all and keeping the suspensions is necessarily the best way to handle it. But that's kind of my take on this. I think all 3 ejections made sense. I know a lot of people were upset with all 3 of them. I saw a lot of opinions for each side on X or Twitter, but realistically, I don't necessarily disagree. I can justify any of the 3 ejections, but I also don't know that all 3 of them were necessary. I know it sounds like I'm fence-sitting a little bit, but I would lean more towards yes on the ejections. I just think the suspension rule is kind of dumb. I don't think any of them really deserved a suspension, but that's the rules. You've got to be smarter than that as a player. You've got to know, keep your head about you in the postseason, especially. It matters. So yeah, that's really all I have for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about these 3 ejections, what you think about my opinion on this. I really hope you did enjoy this video. I'm hoping to branch out a little bit more and talk about more than just Call of Duty. I'm a little bit bored of Call of Duty. I just don't really trust the franchise, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping my options open. Let me know if you want more videos like this. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you very soon with another video. See ya.
And with that, they take this ranked season matchup. Honestly, it was a game that could have gone either way.